Was this your idea, the professional coach?
No, it's Matt Swift's.
And you got...
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You got picked to be in charge?
Yeah, I don't know why, but
Because
Matt...
you're professional.
Yeah.
Are you level 4?
I am level 4.
Oh.
That's right.
Level 4 handshake right there, Fern.
This is a real level 4.
We'll teach you it one day.
I'm a real level 4.
How'd you get your level 4?
I didn't get it. I earned it.
Oh.
That's what level 4s do.
And
we challenge each other like that.
Thank you, Nicole.
That's how we do it.
I appreciate that more than you know. Welcome to the best hour of their day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez.
And me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
As both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates.
and coaches by building
Better
boxes.
boxes. Welcome to
The best hour of your day.
best hour of their day. We are here at CrossFit Roots. Fern Ackerman, Marcus, special guest Nicole Christensen, owner of CrossFit Roots.
Probably heard of it.
You think
Maybe.
so? You are
so.
you are one of those boxes that I think globally people have heard of.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what other gyms say when I'm not there, but
Mostly
yeah.
good stuff.
What
There's
other
definitely some
gyms
bad
say-
stuff
We'll
in
see.
there.
We'll see.
What other gyms say about you is none of your business, as they say. But you have an amazing box, an important role within CrossFit. If you subscribe to the Professional Coach, Nicole is writing all of those articles herself. Just sits down at the computer.
Painstakingly.
Yes, I just
Every
type
word.
all day. No, you just get the letter at the top from me.
That's from you.
Yeah.
It's like the
And then some of the articles
Put the
here and
header.
there.
Just
like
put the
back in the
header
day
Yeah.
when you would read a
I
magazine.
actually
There's
just
a
click
letter from the
send.
editor.
That's my role.
Do you send it?
Do I actually click
Yeah.
send? No.
Oh.
No.
probably
We have an
scheduled
amazing
out.
team that does all of that part.
They do
We
the
produce
clicking.
the content.
Was this your idea, the Professional Coach?
No, it's Matt Swift's.
And you got
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
you got picked to be in charge?
Yeah, I don't know why, but
Because
Matt.
you're professional.
Yeah.
Are you
Matt-
level 4?
I am level 4.
Oh.
That's right.
Level 4 handshake right there,
That's right.
This
Fern.
is a real level 4.
We'll teach you it one day.
I'm a real
One-
level
yeah.
4.
How'd you get your level 4?
I didn't get it. I earned it.
Oh.
Oh.
That's what level 4s do.
And-
We challenge each other like that.
Thank you, Nicole.
That's how we do
appreciate
it.
that more than you know.
I earned mine as well.
I flew to Santa Cruz in 2009 and stayed with my brother, who was
The guy that's here coaching?
the guy that's here coaching. There he is.
There he is coaching
Live
the kids.
in living color. He was in grad school in the Bay Area, and I stayed with him, and I drove over the hill and did my 2 days of testing, and then I went and sat to the judgment room with Annie and Boz. and-
Upstairs, was it at the...
No, it was at the old gym that had the cage fighting area, the fenced-in area.
Which gym was that?
CrossFit Santa Cruz Central.
Central.
Oh, like one of
Yeah,
those?
at the time, because that was the end of 2008 or 9. Yeah.
I love hearing the stories about that.
Yeah, I
It
want
was
to dive
great.
in.
Old level 2
So
is
I did
great.
mine
I
early.
still have my sheet,
Do you?
my evaluation
What it said
sheet.
on it?
Yeah.
Because you
who-
got evaluated, like teaching,
Yeah.
seeing, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was on that evaluation team?
Boz, Annie, Lisa Ray, and Nicole Carroll.
Annie Sakamoto.
Annie Sakamoto.
And Lisa Ray we talked about with
Lisa
Kevin
Ray.
Ogar the other
Yeah,
day. Yep.
she was, I was in awe. I was just like, oh gosh.
Of Lisa?
Yeah.
What about her?
She was just so deliberate while still being able to be kind.
She's still that way.
Yeah, and it was just so refreshing and awesome. And then, and so then Adrian Bosman and then Nicole Carroll was there overseeing.
So this
So.
is early 2009? Mm-hmm. Right before they got rid of
changed
the...
it.
Yeah, right
2010,
before.
I
So it was
think.
like end of 2008, or like the first month in 2009, or January 2009. And
And-
so there were like 16 people, and you taught movements, and then on day 2, you guys remember this, but they would
Well, he
put
wouldn't. He wasn't.
something-
He didn't do
I
the
know
old level two.
They-
I remember
They
exactly
actually,
what
so
you're
they
talking
used to,
about.
they did them at CrossFit Virginia Beach.
Yes, they did. And
But did you participate?
I hadn't started yet.
did you remember? So on the main site, there used to be at the workout of the day, there would be this. We're looking for volunteers to come and be,
Movers.
athletes
Yeah,
or
yeah.
movers, and it was such a crapshoot on who would show up, right? And so then on day 2, you'd have all these people show up, and you would coach them, and Boz and Lisa and Annie would sit there with their clipboard and write, and then you would go to lunch, and then while you're at lunch, everyone would just freak out, and then they would call you in one by one. So you're just sitting with 16 people. And, sometimes it took longer, others, and then people would come out and they're crying.
Yeah. Do you?
So just so everybody knows, so the format was, so if people have taken their level 2, the format was kind of a normal-ish level 2 day, but then day 2 was
day.
There were some
the first
lectures.
Day.
There was a nutrition chat. At least when I went,
it was a combo of it was kind of a normal level 2 now, but then day 2 was like
all testing. Yeah, and day 1 you got some feedback on, you did sort of mock testing, if you will, and you got some feedback. It was, I'll be honest, it was pretty clear who
was going to make it,
was going to have a chance at passing and who was not.
So you said there was about 16?
There were 16 people.
Do you know offhand how many actually passed?
2.
2? Who was the other one?
I don't remember, and I wish I did. I should go back and look at
staff?
It was
No.
That was par for the course.
2
though.
out of 16.
There was.
Do you realize how good I am? I was one of those 2. That's how I was. It was me, Nicole. We were running CrossFit back in the
She
day.
forgot. It was literally you, and she didn't remember.
Was it you?
I
Did you have
forgot
long
that.
hair back then? That was me. No, but I mean, it was the same when I took it. Like, everyone's crying, and I think it was like Spieler, and I passed.
Well, and so I don't know if you remember this. So you'd walk in, they're sitting there, judging, looking at you, and they'd be like, "So how do you think you did?"
That's what I told you. Sherwood said it, yeah.
And it was such a great question because I remember somebody telling me, maybe it was Pat, but that would calibrate their response, right? So if you come in and it's like, how do you think you did? Like, I crushed it. They're like, oh, we're going to have to let this guy down, like, easy, because, like, no. And then some people are like, I don't know if I did. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, like, you have some areas to work on. And so I have no idea what I said to
So
that
that's
question.
interesting, because there are a few people out there. I had a coach on my staff as well that passed the level 2, that if they would just pass the level 3 now,
they would be a
they
level
would
4.
be a level 4.
Yep.
And I'm like, why? I remember
what
his
are they
name was
doing?
Brett. I was like, why aren't you taking the level 3? Like, you can be a level 4 coach. It's like,
I would rather take the level 2 100 times over than taking the level 3.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a test person.
Huh, that's
You're
interesting.
you're not a physical test person, because level 2 is technically a test, right?
So I'm not a book test, but I do
test.
remember when the level 3 came out, I was flowing gigs for CrossFit. I demoted myself, by the way. I'm no longer a flow master. I just worked seminars.
Is that true? Is that breaking news? This is the second time you've done this.
You're the trainer that no flow wants on the staff now. You're just like, she's just gonna come in and fuck up the whole seminar now.
No, I'm just gonna come in and kick back, teach a couple lectures.
But you've done this once
do a
before.
couple breakouts.
Or did you almost kind of resign a little at that time?
Well, so I stepped away when my kids were really little, and it was just, I had a 1 and a 3-year-old, and I just want to be home with my kids.
Yeah.
It wasn't the end, but it was like, I need a true break. I don't need like I'll just work less. It just doesn't work like that. Then my mom got sick, and so it just, and then she passed away a couple years ago. So it took longer to come back, and then I was like ready to come back.
And now, but now since coming back, you are a head trainer.
Yeah. Well, so then I came back and started flowing gigs, but then with my new role with education and
Writing
what
all
I'm
those
doing
articles.
there, writing all those articles.
Yeah.
I really wanted to continue to teach seminars, but you guys know this. It's just a tremendous responsibility, and the upkeep to be able to truly do it to the level that I would like was just not in the cards. And there's amazing people, coming up and doing stuff.
Not being one of them. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm getting a text. Let me.
What is the upkeep?
It's the repetition and then being able to refine based on the repetition. So the repetition of like going and doing the seminar 2 times a month and staying in it. That's an important element of being a flow master. There's also a lot of administrative stuff that's just sort of behind the curtain that you really don't want to mess up. And then I just also think that, to be in that role, you're saying that you don't really have an off day. You don't have like, oh, my lecture wasn't great today. Like that's your role as a flow master, and there was no way that I was going to be able to do it. And I also just really wanted to continue teaching seminars, and that was a way to be able to do it. I know I can come in and teach, give a couple of lectures and give them well and teach breakout groups, but to have that extra layer of also
managing the timeline, giving feedback.
Well, managing timeline, I can do that for days. Let's be honest.
You should talk to Chuck. You should talk to Chuck.
Chuck's got it down. He's great
Chuck
at
and I are
managing
good
the
balance in that. Chuck has a problem with the timeline.
That's I've heard. I've never been in a seminar where that was the case, but I've heard.
But they're supposed to end at 7 at night, right?
7. So that's good.
Yeah,
That's good. It's fine. So that's why and it just feels it's good.
I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Okay.
Question. This is something I say a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Fern agrees with me. You've worked enough seminars. You've worked enough seminars. I have said this. The trainers that come back from their level 1 faster than 5 years, right, because they need to simply revalidate, are better trainers. Do you agree or disagree?
Wait, trainer goes
to their
level 1, and then they go and do the level 2 right away?
Maybe not right like the next weekend, but within 2 or 3 years.
In order to revalidate because their level 1's going to expire.
Correct.
Well, okay, let's take it back. I mean, do you remember back in the day where you went to a level 1 and then you're just like, can I go again?
Yeah, and it's $500 instead of
and then I go again, and then why don't I go again? It's the same.
I took
stuff.
3 paid out of pocket.
Totally.
Yeah.
I agree, and it's interesting that you bring that up because we were talking about recently about the people that go and revalidate.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times there's a little bit of pushback because people are like, I didn't really want to revalidate, but I have to, and I'm doing the same course. And oftentimes they come through and they're like, wow, like I understand the content at a different way, or now I can actually grasp this, or I'm reinvigorated and I want to go back to my affiliate and I want to dial things in more than what we were doing. And it's the same thing with nutrition. I mean, it's the same thing with functional movement. Mm-hmm. Everything around CrossFit is trying to tell you that there's some quick fix, some gimmick, something that is fancy, new, whatever it is, technologically driven, and it pulls people away at the seams. And then they go back to the level 1, or you read what is CrossFit and you're like, oh, so I really just need to eat clean, weigh and measure most of the time, and hit the workout really hard. And it's something we've actually been talking here a lot about, in that I think with the post-pandemic slump, people are like, oh, it's just good that I'm even here. I'm like, no, it's not.
That's a low bar for success.
It's low bar. You cannot lower yourself to that low bar.
I love it.
That's something that he and I
check the box.
Fantastic clip, Katie.
That's something he and I we fight with people about this all the time with that exact concept. It's like, well, I think I need to do something different. I'm like, no, you need to go back and master the thing that you thought you were really good at, but you're actually not.
And that concept is not new to CrossFit, and it's not specific to CrossFit, right? You can see that in a ton of different things that, whether it's playing the piano, or I'm sure jiu-jitsu has some element of that. I'm just learning about that. I don't.
Your kids go. We just interviewed them.
We literally just did a podcast like we were talking about.
Okay,
yeah. Her kids go to.
Oh, okay.
A mall place,
yeah.
Yes, and but it's the same thing, right? You master the basics, then you master the basics better, and you master the basics even better, and the tendency for people to stray from that is so great, and I haven't figured out totally how to combat that quite yet, but it's definitely, I feel like, a post-pandemic thing we're feeling right now in January.
I think it's an excuse you see both with the gym owners and you see with the athletes just the same. It's giving yourself an excuse not to try harder and not challenge yourself and push yourself harder. So you see it with the athlete who's like, I'm just happy to be here. And it's like, I'm glad you're back, but now let's get in gear. And same thing with the gym owner who's like, oh, it's just how it is right now. No, it's not. You're not trying hard enough. You're not being innovative. Get your ass in gear.
Yeah. Isn't that like most human beings, though?
Yes.
That's what she's saying, applies everywhere.
And that's why you have so much pressure on yourself as an affiliate owner or as someone that leads any group of people. I use the word leads lightly, but you have to hold the standard. And Matt was talking about this the other day where what's the phrase? Matt Swift. Yep. The standard is the standard. That, if you never waver from that at your affiliate, all those little things of the standard is the standard, that's what holds the line during that time. And I will be totally honest, I had to kind of slap myself in the face 2 weeks ago because our standard the last 3 months of this past pandemic piece where it just tons of people were out. There was, I had coaches sick, I had members out, I had normal membership numbers, but attendance rates that were dismal.
It just felt like a funk.
Yeah, it was a funk. And then what's crazy is how that a funk can let you slide a little bit and then slide a little bit.
You're like, oh, it's fine.
Be like,
it'll be okay.
But that's what happens with nutrition, like you said.
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm just Saturday night.
Yep.
Sunday morning, I got to finish the leftovers.
Totally.
So
don't bring the leftovers home.
How long has Roots been open? 14?
14 years.
Okay.
You know what? But before we go into that, I think Nicole epitomizes a strong leader? Just from hearing this
Well,
talk, like you've kind of got me like a little motivated.
This is hard to do.
Like, and I'm gonna say, like, I don't really need motivation. I beat Fern in the workout this morning. Like,
Yeah, totally.
You know,
I mean,
we
that's
haven't
enough
even
motivation.
We haven't
right?
even talked
Yeah.
about that. But
We
I
should
mean,
definitely talk about that, though.
Yeah.
just hearing
Can we
that,
review the footage?
Yeah. We
just
should.
hearing that, like, gets you
Some shape
motivated,
reps.
but you also, without making someone feel bad.
Yes.
So, you
So-
agree that you're a good leader.
No, I agree that you should be able to do it without making somebody feel bad.
That's all the feedback you've been given over the years on seminar staff.
Yes. I mean, that's the holy grail of any good coaching piece is that I was just talking to Lindsay, one of our awesome new coaches. We had an athlete.
The one sitting down on the couch smoking a cigarette? That one
Yeah,
over?
I know. I'm trying to get her to cut back. No. And you can't do that in Boulder. No. So
She's smoking something. It's not a cigarette. It's not a cigarette. I need some of that.
you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had an athlete email us that like she'd been out and she wanted to let us know that it was really hard for her to come back and that she was feeling vulnerable and that CrossFit was hard. And I was like, whoa, like this is, and Lindsay gave me this line the other day where she's like, I think some of the problem with the holding the standard, like the standard of the standard, is that we try to be too inclusive. Now just hear me out, right? And her example was the person that goes to a gym, they're like, oh man, like I did a bunch of pull-ups the other day. And so like, I need to avoid the pulling in the workout today. And the coach's like, oh yeah, cool, I got you. Like, yeah, don't do Jackie with pull-ups. Like, let's do push-ups because then you'll feel, and that just like starts to whittle away at the standard. And then for this athlete, like I wrote the email and deleted it, You guys have all done that.
Oh, yeah.
And me emailing her back and being like, oh yeah, we're really excited to have you back. It's like the lamest response that's never going to help her.
You're not doing her anything. You're not doing her a favor.
None. I'm just
Yeah.
endorsing the fact that you should be afraid to feel nervous about coming back to CrossFit.
That this is the
you
doing
need some
pulling overhead is bad 2 days in a row.
Right, all that stuff. Like, and that's, I'm not doing a good job with that athlete because I'm definitely not helping change the trajectory because they've already heard that. And so we do this 225 challenge every year, or if you attend 225 classes in the year, you're eligible in a drawing to win your membership back for the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what does that break down to, Fern? Do the math. 225
but
divided
you give
by
away
12.
one of those.
Yeah, one.
Okay.
So like we
It's
have
like almost 20 classes a month, though.
It's like 19.
That's
And
a-
so the way that I calculated it was like, okay, 365 or 52 weeks in a year. I said, okay, 4 weeks you get for vacation, being sick.
Right.
And you cannot go to, visit another gym, be like, I want the credit.
That
It
has to be
in
at Roots.
our Zen planner,
Right.
in a class, none of this like open shop. I like came and stood around and looked at the pull-up bar.
Yeah, you
Right.
stretching doesn't count. Yeah.
Attended the WOD.
I foam
You
rolled.
attended
At
group
Roots.
class at Roots 225 times. And so I said, I was like, hey, you should, and I didn't really respond to any of the stuff was written. I said, hey, you should do the 225. And she said, oh yeah, I'll definitely consider that. And then it's like, we got to go a layer deeper.
Mm-hmm.
No, we'll shoot you straight. Like the people that are going to be fit for the long term, they're going to change their food. And they are absolutely, without us pushing them, they are coming to 225 classes.
I love
a
the
year.
225 because it's also like makes sense with weight. Like 225 on the bar. Like
Right,
it's a
right.
number that we understand.
It's not
That's
foreign to CrossFit.
It's got a nice
Yeah,
spring.
right. That's cool. Are you gonna-
239 just didn't have any meaning.
So, and then how many would you say annually? Is it January to December?
Yep.
So
January,
if somebody
yep.
joins, they can't qualify this year?
No.
So
no.
it's the-
that thing. The standard is the standard. I
Standard
don't. Someone's like,
20.
you should give them a proportional
Right.
number that
Nope.
they can hit.
Can we prorate it? Can I prorate
Right, I'll
mine?
join
Can I-
December
No.
28th.
You cannot
and
promote
then
it.
you
I've
come
coached
in
a lot.
twice.
I've been a lot of classes in my gym. Can I get in on yours?
Stay and just join in January or do it in January.
How many typically qualify for the 225?
So last year was the first year we did it,
Okay.
and I want to say we had 28 people.
That's pretty
Do
awesome.
the
I feel like
to
that's a
225.
lot.
How many members do you have?
Right now we're down 20%, so we're 228.
So 10% though.
Yeah. That's
10%
good.
of your members, and
feel like
then
that's
one
high.
person
That's
won.
really good.
Is it
and-
high?
I think that's really
I
good.
think that's.
Alright.
I mean, if we
Because I
think
was
that's
like,
high. I think
I
that
wanted
is high.
100.
so, but I mean,
No,
like,
I think
so
10% is high.
Yeah, right. But typically we would think like, hey, 16
16
times a month is like these people are going to be here for a long
That's
time.
192 a
and
year.
you're going 3 over that, and you have 20 people. So I'm thinking about the number of committed club folks that we've done where we've had 20 people. I mean, that's really good.
But so now think about it, though. Think about like the old narrative, like working out 3 days a week is great. Is that really a lifestyle? Is
Compared
that
to
really
what?
Compared to nothing? Or
Right, that's my point.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But recalibrating,
Yeah, compared to nothing,
know-
it's 3 times more than you were doing.
Right.
Of course.
I don't care if you're young, old, injured, not injured. Like you should be working out 5 days a week.
Agreed.
You should be doing CrossFit 5 days a week, going hard. None of this like, well, I have a day that I don't push the intensity as much.
Okay, so this is where people.
She's so
I love
tough,
it.
right?
I love it.
But wait,
She's
before you go
old
too
school.
crazy.
No, I'm not.
Relative. Now, so here, wait, hold on. Here's
So
the
this is where I was
difference.
going to go. So this is where people
Well, I was
lose
going
their
back to the
shit.
225.
Hold on. We'll come back to it. Wait.
You're not.
It's not going
You're
anywhere.
leaving me behind.
225 is not going anywhere. But yes, we are leaving behind. So this is where people lose their shit and they'll be like, hey, because I don't think they understand intensity and how to be applied day to day for athletes. They're like, but people can't do that shit 5 days a week. And I'm like, no, you're not doing it right.
So I think that they're not doing it right because in their head it's either they're going for it or I'm just going to check the box today.
Right.
Rather
There's
than
no in between.
There's no middle.
between.
There's no middle. And you know what? The middle is just showing up every day, warming up and going for it. And you know what? Some days going for it works out really well. Today I rode the 2K. I crushed 1,500 meters. And then I imploded. It's fine. But I didn't say like, oh, I'm just not feeling great today, so I'm going to back off on my pace and just kind of, I'll be fine. No. That's where I think relative intensity gets manipulated or misunderstood. It's not saying, like playing this whole mental game too much of like, well, I didn't sleep well last night and I've got a little bit of ache in my shoulder and, you know, it's just really stressed at work.
Yeah, I think people take that way too far.
Yes,
We're just
I
like,
agree.
hey, if you're doing that all the time, I'm like, no, now you're just being lazy.
Yes.
There's a time and a place for it. We're just like, you can see it when they walk in the gym. I'm like, you look like shit.
Yeah.
Maybe you should dial it back today.
Right.
You know, there's a time and a place for it, or
But,
you just
okay.
program it that way.
Tell me this. When you, like, take it back to, like, 2009.
Nicole's in charge of the podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say, we lost control.
Now I'm asking you guys a
17
question.
minutes
Yes,
ago.
it's been great to have you guys at my gym. No, but tell me honestly, 2009, 2010, every time you know,
Full send.
100%. I wanted to beat
you
everybody.
waited till the main site came up. You were excited for that workout. You ate your 30, 40, 30 proportion that night extra, you know, on it
5
because
times
you
fat.
were like, I want 5 more seconds, right? Well, yeah, obviously. But that was the motivation. There wasn't this backdrop of like, and if I don't get a good night's sleep, then I might just sleep in.
I feel like if this CrossFit Roots thing and home office doesn't work out, you'd be a great part of the team here. So
Great. Thank you.
you're right on board with us. But the 225 question,
Yes.
pull a raffle out,
Yeah.
and one person, do they get a check or do they get their next year paid for?
They can choose.
Ooh, I like that.
They can choose. So they either earned the next year.
I take it in Bitcoin.
We don't offer that yet, but
yet.
we'll look into that. Thank you.
Maybe next year. No, but so going back to the standard. I look at you and Roots and what you guys have done here is somebody who has what we describe as like sustained superior performance. Like you've been doing it well for a long time, and that's hard to do. It's really hard to do.
Well,
And-
Instagram is not always reality.
Really?
So there's that.
Shit.
Says who?
Yeah, but you guys do a good job of being real, like when you had to move and relocate.
yeah.
All that was broadcast.
I'm just saying, like we hold the standard, but you always have to work to keep the standard.
Oh, I'm not suggesting that it's easy, but like that's a long. I mean, 14 years. Like, think about that. Like, we're going to say it out loud. 14 years of holding the standard to do this really well. Mm-hmm. That's hard.
Yeah.
What are some of the things what are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to face as an affiliate owner, as a leader, as a coach in holding the standard, so that when people think about CrossFit Roots, they're like, that's how we should be doing it.
Nobody's special.
Ooh, I love that.
That one I got from my mom.
Do you say that
you
to
can
your
ask
kids?
my brother
Did you
about
pass
that.
that down to your kids?
What's that?
Do you say that to your kids?
Oh yeah, we're always like, you're special in this house, but everywhere else, like
That's not-
you're
yeah,
not
it's like,
special.
yeah, the world
Yeah,
doesn't
take
care
that.
about you, son.
Yeah.
I care about you, but nobody else
yeah,
does.
Exactly. And that there's so many layers of that. You know, that's the person that's a competitor. Like I'm never giving them a key, you know, so they can come in and do their own thing. That's the if one coach is you know having to do something, you know, everybody else is also doing that same thing. It's saying, if you want to be a full-time coach here, you're going to coach 2 mornings a week. I don't care if you don't like getting up. I don't care what your
Have
situation
you met Fern?
is.
You guys would get along really, really well.
And so now you can say it really hardcore, you know, like we'll coach too, but it's more just saying
The
like this
standard
is
is the
what we
standard.
expect. Yeah, this is
This
the
is the
standard.
expectation.
Every one of your
You know?
coaches does the 2 morning classes once a week?
Well, so
You have more than 5 coaches.
we have 5 full-time. Pre-pandemic, we always had 2 5:30s. Right now, we only have 2 5:30s.
Running simultaneously?
Monday, Wednesday,
Okay.
Friday.
Wow.
Yeah. We're a little...
Same workout?
5:30 a.m. was the one... Same workout, yeah. Just we capped the classes to keep them smaller. So it's like 24 people, but 2 coaches. It was like not linear for us.
Right.
I didn't find that just like adding another coach made it
Right.
great.
I see what you're saying.
So yes, same workout. But yeah, so the standard is the standard. And so what are some of the things? So I don't know. I mean,
that's a big one that most people get. This is the salt shaker analogy that that you're familiar with too. When somebody comes in like, oh, we can bend the rules for this person.
Totally.
And I'm like, or you could not bend the rules for that person.
Well, and you know what's okay? So here's an example. So right before the pandemic, we changed our foundations for someone coming from another CrossFit gym. And we said to join our gym, it's a private training session that also comes with 2 free classes. Or not free, but like they're included in the private training session. And so you'd get people like, oh, wait, I've been doing CrossFit.
What does that mean? But keep going.
Right. Well, and the right reason that was is we were getting a lot of people that said they had done CrossFit, and then they're like, oh, but we didn't kip at my gym. So that's another thing. Like, if you go to a gym that's a CrossFit gym that you didn't kip, I think we should take the CrossFit gym off your name. So we'll start with that. But also, a lot of times it might have been like they weren't actually at a CrossFit gym, and so they didn't really get the whole wheel deal.
You were working out fast in your garage.
But it was fast-ish.
Yeah.
But it was a great filter to get great people. Because people that came and they were like, okay, tell me about this. We had this nice email, and it was basically like, here are the reasons why. We want to get to know you as an athlete. We want to help understand where you're starting from. We want to help you understand what we expect as a coach. And it'll help you assimilate into the gym a lot better. I mean, we've got 2 athletes that did it that were on games teams. Regional teams.
You're saying those that did it were better members after.
And if you're not willing to do that, right?
You're not going to fit.
Then you're not going to fit with this gym community. And there's, I'm a little bit down on the word community right now because I think that
people use it too
freely.
Loosely,
you join the gym and hold the standard, and then you become part of the community.
It's the
you
culture.
You don't join the gym to be part of the community.
Right.
I think what it is it's a matter of, are you willing to be a part of how we do things? Even if you're experienced, that's okay. I appreciate you've been doing CrossFit for 8 years over in wherever. We may do things differently, and at very least, we want to make sure that we can serve you best. So you're going to go through this process so we can get to know you, you can get to know us, and it's their onboarding. It doesn't. We're not here. I'm not maybe going to teach you a bunch of new things, but I need to maybe learn, or maybe we'll probably find a few things that we can improve. But it's your indoctrination into how we do things also. And if someone's resistant to that, there's a lot of other great options out there.
Without failure, every time I have bent the rules, it has bitten me in the ass.
Yes.
Yep.
But here's what I'm hearing: both the way Nicole,
with my kids too.
both the way Nicole and Marcus put it out there was in a welcoming, warm way as well. And I think a lot of box owners get that wrong, where it's like, no, this is the rule.
It's not a bad thing.
And I've made that mistake.
But the way you just laid it out, the way you probably email those people, oh, now if that's a good person, they're being somewhat empathetic as well. Like, oh, I understand why Marcus.
I'm coming into your house.
Why Nicole? Right.
Well,
take your shoes
like
off. I don't do that at my home. Well, you're in my fucking house. Take your shoes off. Right?
It's also, if I came to your gym and you said I need to do a session, I guarantee I would learn something going and doing a one-on-one with you.
Not so much at Rife, but at Best Hour CrossFit.
Right. Okay, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. But that's the whole thing, is that there's also something that you're learning about the athlete is, are you willing to possibly learn something new, different? We talk about mastering the basics well.
Right.
I mean, how many times, I remember this, I was terrible at kipping handstand push-ups, and so bad, like just terrible, for like 5 years. And then, you remember Doug Chapman?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm in my...
Hyperfit.
Hyperfit.
Yeah.
Doug was amazing. I was at, it was in our bedroom, and I was doing kipping handstand push-ups on the wall, trying to figure this out. I was so frustrated. I sent him a video.
Doug wasn't in your bedroom, for the record.
No, sorry, that came out. Yeah, Eric filmed it. Yeah, okay.
Even
just
better.
take the bedroom part out of the story.
Too late. No, it makes the story good.
And
so Doug was in your bedroom.
Eric is filming.
Damn! Moving on. And so I sent him, and it was literally like the heavens opened, and I was like, oh my God, I can do handstand push-ups. This is amazing. But my point is, like, it was just the basics. It wasn't like I did some super fancy tricep strengthening program.
He was like,
the longer
you should move your hands.
The longer you do this, the more you recognize I can always learn something. Right?
Yes, and it's a filter for those athletes
100%.
in a lot of ways, among other things.
But here's, Fern.
The ones, so going back to that, right? Because the ones I know those athletes that come in, they're like, yeah, I've been to the Southern Affiliate for 5 years. They clearly look fit. And I'm like, hey, we do this? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, oh my God, you're going to fit in so well.
You're going to love it here.
You're going to love it here.
Yeah.
I'm going to love you. This is going to work out swimmingly. The other one's like, well, I've been doing it a while. I'm like, I'm trying to hide this face.
Yep.
And I'm not doing it well. It's Cassidy's face now because he does all that. But I'm just like, dude, this is why? Why are we doing this right now? Why are we doing this stupid dance?
I know. I know.
But
you
get some of that out of the way in that one-on-one. Yeah.
Right.
You would ask kind of like what she's doing. I think it's not as much as what you're doing, but your actions too. Like, this is you, and I don't think a coach or a member can stay here for an extended period of time with you as the leader and not rise up. So it's either you're going to join me or you're going to get left behind. I'm being serious.
I know, and I had this just reminded of this story because sometimes people think I take it too far.
You do.
Perfect.
Yeah,
However,
they're right.
So one of our first coaches came to the gym. This is at the old gym, like the little 2,000 square foot gym we had on Pearl Street. And he had a Chick-fil-A cup. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, it's soda water. And I was like, no. And
Fern can't work here.
Yeah, well,
I wouldn't bring it in here.
But he was like, well, but I do eat it. And I was like, I'm not going to tell you that you should never eat it and that's like your thing that you should never do. But in here, the standard is the standard.
Right.
Like when you've got coaches that on their break, they're eating out of their Tupperware because that's their lunch, that's the standard. That's what we're doing, When we used to do potlucks for paleo stuff, I literally gave a sign-up sheet of like, you can bring these 7 items. Like, don't go to Safeway and buy like the cheap thing of croissants and cookies. I mean, the standard is the standard. You got to set the example.
But this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
And whether it's expressed this way or just because that's how you live your life, I don't think the wrong people are not going to, and we said it on a recent podcast, like Glassman said, CrossFitters have a very bullshit meter.
Bullshit, yeah. They smell bullshit, yeah.
So do you have an example of where you took that concept of the standard as a standard, but you applied it incorrectly?
Ooh, good question, Fern.
Okay, give me a second.
Take all the time you need.
Nate's
got plenty of battery right now.
We'll cut out my
How
pause.
much time left, Nate?
Standard is a standard and applied it incorrectly.
Maybe give her an example. Do you have one for you?
No, I mean, I would say that I've taken things too far.
That's where I was kind of going. Those are kind of the examples that I have.
So like as an example, we just changed this. So, we've done foundations in every shape or form. And we had been doing 3 and it didn't really go right. So we went to 6. And it was great because we were getting these athletes that were like really committed and the price point went way up. So
of course,
it was filtering that out a little bit with people that were truly committed. But I'll be honest, we're in Boulder, it's a more expensive town, and it was starting to change the demographic of who was coming in, and that was not at all what I wanted.
Okay.
And so the standard
a lot of
in
white
terms
Jews
of like,
coming in.
What's that?
A lot of white Jewish people.
Jesus.
Not Jesus. Jews.
Wrong religion.
No, but I mean, there's I want a CrossFit gym that, we've got students and we've got young professionals and we've got, 2 working parents or son and father coming to work out together and
it sounds like that filter was like, these are just people that have enough money.
And that wasn't really what I was trying. That wasn't what I was aiming for.
Right.
In my head, I was like, the standard is the standard. We're getting these people that we're doing 3 sessions and they're not committed and they're quitting and like this is bullshit. And I don't want people that are going to do 3 sessions and be like, oh, I'm good. So I was like, well, we'll go way over the top. And I mean, that's not how I was thinking about it. But in the end, my coaches were like, I surveyed them and they're like, 4 is plenty. 4 is the sweet spot. So we changed it.
Were you finding better retention out of those people coming 6?
Yes, but we we were getting better retention compared to the 3, but I think the big number metric will be, are we going to get equal retention out of 4 and in turn get more people?
So 4
as well.
gave just as much of a return than going to or very close to it.
Yeah, I don't want to close off the spigot with a lifetime of 4 members. I would like to have a balance of both.
Yeah, exactly. And with the pandemic and stuff, people are coming back. And at the time, there was also the backdrop of, I think we could have 9 people in our 10,000 square foot space.
It's bonkers.
And so a lot of people were getting interested in fitness, but we couldn't really serve them and then take care of all the people that were actually currently still members.
If somebody left 2 years ago because of the pandemic and are coming back, are you putting them through?
No.
They're able to come into class?
No, we let them back in. Yeah. We basically just tell them, like, okay, be smart, scale, appropriately. We just remind them of the basics of how they're going to come back. I need to do that right now because I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but with COVID from like the month of January.
Well, Jay's gym is packed.
We're at capacity.
His garage,
Are you guys? Oh, yeah. Okay, so you guys are at capacity. Got it.
2-person. She's getting kicked out.
All right. Well, I was going to sign up for
She didn't take a COVID
class.
test. She's out.
But
we'll take level 4 coaches. We'll take you.
You're saying post-pandemic, you were seeing what?
Well, just like literally this past month, attendance has been really down. And so I know we need to send an email out just saying, because it's like, first you get over COVID. And then, somebody said at the front desk, I was like, John, I haven't seen you in a while. And he's like, oh, yeah, I had COVID. And then it's really hard just getting back into it. And like, that's the
cool story. See you on Monday.
I know, right?
225 club.
Yeah. Well, you're here, so couldn't have been that hard.
No, that's so, we're not necessarily saying that, but we are working with quite a few gyms. They're just like, am I doing something wrong? And I'm like,
I woke up just like 2 nights ago, like with my heart pounding, like, oh my God.
Yeah. I'm like, no. I'm like, but
and
he was like, should I not follow up with people as frequently? I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, stay on them.
Yeah.
Get their ass in the gym. Like,
I think it's an opportunity to just reach out more individually.
Totally.
And just be like, what's going on?
I agree.
I haven't seen you in a while. What do we got to do?
Yeah.
And just personally invite everyone back in. It may take you a month to do, but.
And you guys have been there. You come off the holidays. It's crazy how bad the timing of COVID was for what we know already happens coming off the holidays.
Right.
So people worked out a little bit less. They ate a little bit poorly. And then, that first week in January is like, I'm going to get back in it. And then they all got COVID. Or like their kids got COVID. And so then it just extends that. And so maybe we had that 2-week period. I do feel like this year it's like a month. And we are going to have to pull people out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I just tell people, they're like, I got COVID. I'm like, no, you didn't. I'll see you on Monday. You're fine.
So let's get a little bit off topic. You said you're down to chat a little bit.
Sure.
Recent decisions in the CrossFit space have impacted everybody, but Dave was your mentor. Mm-hmm. How has that been for you on a personal level? We're referring to Dave Castro.
Dave Castro, yes. It's like
because you guys are pretty tight.
He was your mentor, you said.
Yeah. Mentor, friend, I love this song. This is my favorite song ever. This is AC/DC Thunderstruck.
Yeah.
My brother and I coached a swim team when we were in college, and we were the Thunderbolts. Ooh. And this was our theme song.
You and your brother, like you had a team name?
Yeah.
Or like the entire team?
Like the entire team.
Not just like, go Thunderbolts.
He would wear like this tight spandex costume with a lightning bolt on it.
Taco, burrito. What's coming out of your Speedo?
So all the cheers.
This is a great burpee song for a warm-up, by the way.
Yeah, every time?
Yeah.
This is like throw it down.
Well, they're about to do a 2K row, where they're in the middle of it. Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm having like flashbacks right now from this morning.
Yeah,
this is my least favorite workout in all of CrossFit.
Yeah, we're doing benchmark week right now, so this is one of the
What else? What did you have, Fran?
DT was yesterday, then 2K row. Tomorrow's 5x3 back squat. Then it's gymnastics barbell run with low reps and distances on the run, but it's a 25-minute AMRAP, so it's like a lot of rounds. And I'm totally drawing a blank at the moment on Friday, although I know that there's like a max distance handstand walk and something else.
That's cool. Okay.
So we do it every quarter. We follow this recommendation from the CrossFit Level 2 course where we do the same 5 benchmarks every quarter for a year.
Why would you do something like that?
I don't know. It's
weird.
Do you change
those annually?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So we just finished out the last one, and then this is the first week of the new year.
Okay.
We don't do it the first 2 weeks of January because that's mean.
You would get no metrics.
Everyone would be like,
I didn't get the first quarter benchmark.
So Dave. So yeah, I think it was. I don't think I ever pictured Dave not being part of my CrossFit career and my CrossFit life and whatnot, and it just felt like that was really sort of ripped from my CrossFit world, whether it was like from a friend standpoint, an affiliate standpoint, bouncing ideas off Dave, or how would you have done this at a seminar? I mean, over the years, I got this question, and Dave would be sitting there in the truck. And I remember one time with Eric O'Connor, we were in Arizona, and Eric had got a question about intensity, and Dave just he validated Eric's response, which was good. And then he was like, and you can also think about these things. And I don't know. I think that's the hard part, is you've got like 3 degrees of separation now from Greg, to Dave, to me, to you,
right.
to any of us, and it feels like a giant hole.
He's also fits the bill of a lot of what you're talking about. He was probably the original purveyor, which is the standard as a standard, which is like there was no excuse. It's just like no. Yeah. The answer is no.
Yeah. And so it was.
Actually,
we have our symbolic.
I saw that.
Hand-drawn Castro
TDC
logo.
No, but as I was asking you that, I also thought about, you had your 10-year party. Glassman, did Dave show up as well?
Dave wasn't here.
But Greg Glassman showed up.
Yeah.
Like, that's going back to what we said at the beginning. Like, you're one of the standards. Like, Greg Glassman showed up at your 10-year party. That's a pretty big deal. And then, what was that like for you? Did you know he was coming?
I didn't know he was coming. He happened to be in Denver, and I don't know who called me, and I was like, yeah. And we blew it out of the water. I mean, we had this like 110-foot bouncy castle slide water feature, and we had vendors, and we had all sorts but in true Greg fashion, this was actually my favorite part. So we put out a thing about sponsors, and we vet the sponsors.
Right.
The standard is the standard.
Right. We were literally having this conversation this morning.
We vet our sponsors.
We were literally having that conversation.
You guys sell Monster Energy here, though, right?
Yeah.
And so these people do, like, this company, they emailed us, they had a store in Longmont, and they do massage and chiropractic. I was like, okay, come on out. I didn't know this, but they also did, like, IV therapy. Special IVs. And Greg's walking, he's like, that's a bunch of shit. And I was like, it's great.
That's
classic Greg.
Yeah. But
it's not the shit that's going to get you your first muscle up. Nope. That's for sure.
That's how he is, and that's what, the OGs appreciated about him.
That's the whole thing, is that you have principles and you stand on them. And, I'm down on the word. I'm down on a lot of words, apparently. But, it's like we can talk about leadership to death or principles to death. Just go do it. Like,
if you're doing it, you shouldn't have to talk about it. Everybody's like, no.
I know.
Like, nobody was talking. Like, nobody would say that. Like, you just knew. Like, when you worked with Dave and you worked with certain people, just like, it wasn't just like, well, he's really a stickler for the principled guy. You'd be like, no, have your shit together, and you'll be fine. And you're like, oh, so do my job well and try hard.
Do the assignment well.
Okay.
And that's the rule that's still there. I mean, it had been, the Dave and Nicole rule.
Yeah.
Every weekend, Saturday morning.
Yeah.
What would you do? Like, what would you be doing if Dave and Nicole showed up? Not Nicole. Nicole Carroll.
Yeah.
Treat this question how you will.
Okay.
Has living and owning your box in Boulder with the Dave situation been unique to you?
With the Dave situation? With him getting fired?
Certain people had an impact on that firing that also live in this town.
Whoa. I think it's...
Is that okay to ask?
Well, it's been asked, so we're there.
I think that it's a really hard time.
Yeah.
It's a really hard time. And on a personal level and on my affiliate level, it feels like something was just ripped from what I know is right and what I know was going to continue to move us in the direction that I trusted. And that's the hard part.
So and
I think Dave and Nicole, you mentioned them, like, when Greg sold the company, a lot of us were not sure what we were going to do. Mm-hmm. And I know for me, I stayed because I knew Dave and Nicole were staying. And Dave even said to me, we were at the games, we were at Aromas doing like a walkthrough in June, and I was kind of, saying I was, not sure and stuff like that. And Dave was like, well, you got to give it a chance. And I was like, all right, okay.
This is before the games
This was before the ranch games.
Right,
yeah.
recently, the recent ranch games.
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah, not 08 or 07.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, exactly. And what I realized, though, in the past week was that what's been lost is that, a lot of what kept us like, okay, we're going to keep moving forward with this, is that it wasn't so much we were staying because of Dave and Nicole, but whether you like Dave or not, whether you like Nicole or not, we were staying because we trusted them.
Correct.
To carry out the mission, the belief, the cause that Greg stood for. It wasn't, I'm doing this for Dave. I'm not doing this for Nicole. And I think that's almost like when we really talk about leadership, there's been times when I don't agree with Dave at all. There's been times when Nicole's told me stuff and I'm like, I don't agree with that. It's not about liking them or not liking them. It's that they were this surrogate, if you will, for this,
we're still moving in the right direction.
We're still moving in the right direction. And that if, so I think that's the part that's just really hard.
Yeah.
So as time is going on, a strong affiliate influence in the affiliate world, what do you think we should be doing collectively to maintain that, like you've said, lineage and culture and all that in the CrossFit world? What's the job of the current affiliate owners to make sure those that join in a year and 2 years still understand that?
The job of the affiliate owners is to make sure that people don't ever say CrossFit is a great community and it's a really tough workout.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, elaborate on that.
We need to make sure that our members know what CrossFit is way beyond the workout of the day. They need to understand, they need to read what is CrossFit. They need to read what is fitness. We need to educate them beyond, this is a cool workout that I do and it's a great community to be part of. That's not gonna carry us through because that's
shallow.
Not unique and it's
shallow.
so shallow. Mm-hmm. And damn it, like when you went into Boulder CrossFit, which they didn't stay open, and then a new Boulder CrossFit. So this is Boulder CrossFit from like 2006, 2007. When you walked in, everybody there was like, it was just going through the air of like, I am part of something so much bigger than myself, and doing this workout it's not about me curing myself from chronic disease. This is on so many different levels. This is the thing that I'm going after that's going to keep me on the right, in the right place.
In life.
Path. In life. I mean, I remember like I swam in college. My biggest fear when I stopped swimming was that I was going to get really overweight because I went from swimming, 3.5 hours a day to not. So I started running, and I would wake up and be like, oh my God, is this life? Like you wake up, you go for a run, and then you go to your job from 9 to 5 at a desk and you sit there.
Did you have a real job?
Yeah.
What did you do before?
I went to graduate school for city and regional planning and spatial analytics. So I worked for
Parks and Rec, Ron Swanson.
Ready?
I was born ready. I'm Ron Swanson.
Yes, exactly. Here we are.
Take all of your bacon.
But I only lasted. I mean, I would sit there at that desk, and then I did the whole thing. I found CrossFit.
So did you start at that Boulder CrossFit?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize there was a Boulder CrossFit prior to Roots. I thought you guys were the first one in this area.
No. So Jeff did Boulder CrossFit.
Jeff.
And I'm going to draw a blank on his last name. And it was great. And I went to him and I was like, hey, I want to coach. I want to do this. I'd taken my level 1. And he was kind of happy doing his thing. And, he had like 30 people. And so I was like, all right, we're going to go work out in the garage. And I didn't really know what we were going to do. So we opened the garage. And then they ended up closing. So the affiliate name went back into the world for to be available.
But you prefer Roots?
Well, then we opened CrossFit Roots. Yeah. And then there was another one called Flatirons CrossFit. And then
I think it might still be around, no?
Well, it's now called Left Hand CrossFit.
Oh, yeah. They went to level 2.
Yeah.
But going back to what you were kind of saying, just like making sure they know, and I think it goes back to the theme of this podcast is, what annoys me to no end is that we talk about this ad nauseum. People keep trying to fix it.
Oh.
Yes,
the
CrossFit.
worst.
God, I know.
I'm like, it doesn't need to be
no,
fixed.
don't we fix it?
It
That-
needs to be
what
done
Nicole's
right.
saying-
It needs to be done right.
We
And
don't
that
need to
is-
fix it. We need to dig deeper.
Yes.
Right.
Dig in.
Master the basics.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, one thing that we've been super fortunate, and I don't know if you guys are as well, but you know, we've sent over a decade. 14 years. We've only been hosting level 1s and 2s for a decade. So 75, 80 of our members have taken the level 1.
That's so cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And, you know, we never took the money. We always did we'll take the host
Yeah,
spots
that's-
back in the day. You know, we got
Yep.
those spots, and it just reinforces the message of why they're doing that workout every day. Because anybody could walk in and they can come do some stuff, but if you don't connect the dots of why a deadlift matters, why mastering this, you know, because I don't want to say they're cutesy stories, right? I'm just so motivated to come to the gym and I want to come 6 days a week. And it's like, okay, that's nice. But you know what? People do that with the Orange Theory. Mm-hmm. People do that with a
Right.
lot of other stuff. And so
And one day you won't be
people-
motivated, and that's not going to get you here.
Yes, and whatever people say about your CrossFit gym, that needs to be something that if you laid it on any other thing out there, it wouldn't be the same. And we can't say that when it's like it's got a great community.
It's a running joke. I hammer people all the time. They're like, oh, "What's the unique about your gym?" I'm like, and
It's in the
and they know
questionnaire.
now. They know now. They're like, "Oh, I know I can't say coaches and community." I'm like, "Correct," because it's a
Right.
bullshit answer.
Yeah, it's a bullshit answer.
And it doesn't mean anything, and it's wrong. That's not what makes you different,
No.
because neither one of those things are probably that good.
And I think it's like we've gotten the order of operations out of order a little bit, where you know there's an attraction now because people are like, oh, I'm just really excited to join the community. Well, I want to hear I'm really excited to get fit for the rest of my life and ward off chronic disease and you know, be able to pick up my kids and, you know, crush it 5 days a week in the gym by weighing and measuring my food.
And if I happen to bang a few members while we go about that, it's even better,
That's the
right?
standard is the standard. That's in our job agreement.
Do not do that.
Not the coaches. Not the
to do it or
coaches, the
not do it?
members.
No, it says
It's
habitual
mandatory.
sleeping around will not be tolerated.
What was the term?
Habitual sleeping around will not be
What's
tolerated.
habitual? Once is not a habit.
Exactly.
So what's allowed?
This is the
When
gray
does it
area.
become
Don't
habitual?
ruin it for
Yeah,
everybody.
listen, don't define something that needs to stay
I'm
gray.
asking for
Right.
Jenny. I'm asking for Jenny right now.
Well, she's still here, so we're good.
Okay. But here's
Policy works.
Right.
that was kind of like we talked about. We had the interview with Amal earlier, and I said I walked in to be better at jiu-jitsu because it makes me sane. Mm-hmm. And I stayed. I'm still here, and my only friends in town are from here. Mm-hmm. That was an accident.
Yeah.
But I came to get better at this thing.
Right.
Because it helps me be a better person.
Right.
Same thing here.
Same
And
thing
if you
here.
happen to like the community and make some friends, great.
Right.
We're going to help foster that.
And I think that's something that we also miss is that what we do connecting in a workout, and I mean just seeing humans, it's not even have to be like we have to high five or any of that stuff. You can't replicate that. And there's an element of, okay, you can take stuff online, you can go do your Zoom class, you can go pull up your programming and go do it, at home. But I do think that the time and place of what is going on where people are immersed in their phones, they can't get away from their phones, they have no discipline to, for so many of those things. The idea that, we're going to be, not we, but like the people are going to go get fitness and they're going to do that at home. And, the Peloton, they piss me off. There was a stupid commercial and it was supposed to be empowering for women. And it was this woman and she, you can see the baby sleeping and she gets up in the morning, she gets on her Peloton. And I'm like, that woman is sad and depressed and lonely. And she would love to get away.
Well, you know that as a mom, and I know that because Roz, you're absolutely right. She's I got to do Peloton because I can't go to a gym.
By the way, that whole thing backfired for them.
Yeah, big time.
They are sitting on
that was the one where the
billions of
husband
dollars of inventory because they overplayed their hand on that.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Now they're getting
but
crushed.
Yeah.
And people this. So this really pissed me off because there's a lot of people in the space who just shifted with the wind. They're like, well, I guess this is virtual forever. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, human beings are tribal.
Thank you.
Fern was on top of that from day one.
From day one, everybody shifted. And I'm like, they're coming back, and I was like,
texting him all
and they're going to come back.
He'll send you a lot of memes and tinfoil hat stuff, but he will also give you a couple good nuggets as well.
But the point is, they made that call because it was convenient at the time. It was not true, and they've all these experts have shifted back. They're like, it's brick and mortar's back, and I'm like, it was never gone. You turd.
No.
I'm like, you just were trying to sell people some nonsense so that you would sound smart instead of just telling them the fucking truth and be like, no, they can't leave their home, which is why they're doing virtual stuff. And when the world opens back up, and they're like, I've been depressed because I haven't seen another human being in 12 months. I'm going to go back out there and try to. And you should be there ready to get them going.
And it's one of those things you don't
People need
realize
it.
because you've come into town. We've hit 2 workouts. And I've been training in my garage for the last 6 months to a
Right.
year. And I'm like, oh, shit, this is what I've been missing.
Yeah.
I worked harder. It was a
Yes.
lot more fun.
Yes.
I felt better at the end of the day. So while Best Hour CrossFit is obviously thriving, we're crushing it. We're full.
Membership is through the
Membership
roof.
is at capacity. I need to go to boxes.
Listen, I consider myself to be a fairly productive and motivated person,
disagree, but
given
that's
the
fine.
option, I will not train.
It's
Just-
funny you said
Yeah,
that. How many?
you err on not training. That is accurate.
Given the option, I'm like, I don't kind of want to.
Which
but
is
if
always why it's surprising
but
how fit
Lindsay
you
and
are.
Cassidy are good at this. They're like, dude, put your fucking shoes on.
Yeah.
We're going. And I'm like, okay. And I'm in. I'm like, I'm really glad I did
And
that.
then I'll
Thank
throw
you
down
for
a
that.
234 Fran.
I'll admit the same thing. For me, the social element is my favorite part.
Yeah.
It's the fact that I'm going away from my regular routine to go be with my people, doing a thing that I value, that I enjoy, and I don't think that's replaceable.
No.
I might like it more than some others or value it more, but I know, like you said a moment ago, the tribal factor. We need to be around other people. When you're around other people doing positive things for themselves and for each other and it's supportive, you can't beat that. And it will not go out of style. Maybe
No.
some more people will try to do online things, and people, when all this stuff happened, remember, you and I talked about this at length. It's like, well, do you think the industry is going to change? Fuck no, I don't. I don't think that's going to change at all. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to create more demand, and those who do a really good job doing it are going to reap the benefits because you just stick to it. It will work out. We'll do some Band-Aids in the meantime while people don't know what to do. Hold the line. It
Hold
will
the
work
line.
out, and it
Standard
will
is
work
standard.
out better in the long run. You will win the long game.
Absolutely. And
Now-
and that's the same thing though. Like the standard is the standard. How does that apply, right? So your tribe, yes, you come in, you mold your tribe and you hold the standard for your tribe. And yes, there's pandemic, fall off and all that stuff and you get back in it and it's not that you change your standard. You don't say, "Okay, well, come in 3 days a week and you can go do these 2, workouts online at home." It's like, no, I know this sounds harsh, but if you can't get to class, like if you can't make that happen, that's
Well, it's a deeper problem.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
There's
a bigger
bigger
problem that you're not
bigger
able
problem.
to hold yourself to something that's important.
Right. And that's, you can have a great community, you can have a lot of elements, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to motivate
Yeah,
to do
there
it.
has to be some personal accountability, and I think
Right.
that's people uncomfortable hearing that, which is like, yeah, I mean, I'm here, I'm doing, like, we're here ready, but you still have to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to call people and be like, hey, that's a nonsense excuse.
Right.
Get here.
Yep.
We're open for they're like, I don't have time. I'm like, we're open 14 hours a day.
And
I'm like, what are you doing?
Countless people will tell you that is one of the things they love most about the gym. If you do a good job and you make it positive and you make them want to come back, you don't call them and shame them. But it's
No.
like, bro, I haven't seen you in 3 weeks. You hit me with the Disneyland vacation thing last time.
Right.
You caught the cold.
Totally.
Tomorrow, are you coming in the morning or at night? Which
Right.
one's it going to be? And they're like, thank you.
Totally.
I needed that. And it's
Right.
like, great. I know that this is our role for most of you because no one else holds you to it. We do. And that's important. You really have to represent it. And it can be positive, it can be happy, it doesn't have to be mean, shitty in any
No.
way. And I think that's what a lot of people value. I still have people I talk to now from my gym. I own an affiliate I sold several years ago. And I still see these people now. They're like, that changed my life because I had someone who I knew gave a shit.
There's a member that we have. She's been a member for 13 years. And she had a kid. And then she hadn't been coming. And she had been coming at 5. And then she had the kid. And, things changed. And so apparently, I don't remember saying this. And this doesn't sound like what I would say. But she swears.
But you'll take the credit.
Yeah, I'll take the crap for it. She goes... since then, she's been an avid 5:30er. And I was like, one day...
AM.
I was like, why'd you switch to 5:30? And she's like, because you told me I had to put my big girl pants on and get up early.
No, you said that. You said that
definitely
to
said
me
that.
too.
There was no...
I've known you for an hour and a half. And you definitely said that.
and there was no other time that I was going to be able to work out. So that was going to become my new class time. And the thing is like, for whatever reason, I mean, Sarah is the epitome of everything we would hope for out of somebody that pursues CrossFit, one group class a day, 5 days a week. She's an engineer for Ball Aerospace. She's got her career, she's got her kids. She's made consistent and incremental changes to improve her food over that. I mean, she's got a muscle up. Literally, she's the
She's a
entire
superhero.
package. Yeah, and the thing is she had all the pieces to do it. You know, when we talk about like motivation, like this woman's motivated, but it is that like little tiny little bit of reciprocation, and then who knows what people can do.
But I think the difference between somebody hearing this story and be like, oh, you just can't talk to members like that is like the standard is the standard for 14 years.
Right.
We have this track record of holding the line, and I'm not coming at you from a bad place. You actually know I'm right.
Well, and
somebody just needed to say it.
When you talk about, you asked about what are the standards that I didn't hold, and then how did it bite me in the butt? So, we have done class sign up in advance since day one. Like not just the pandemic, like since 2009, you had to sign up in advance for class because we capped at 9, and then we capped at 12, and so we got to be able to add a coach or whatever it is. And I had a couple instances of people over the years where the system didn't quite work for what they were asking for, and so I was like, oh well, you can just come, and we'll sign you in on the back end. Well, that was the worst idea I could, because why would I do that for like 3 members?
You broke the cardinal rules, like nobody's special.
Nobody's special. And so what's interesting, though, is just recently we had a member that, and I don't fire very many. I mean, I think it's the second member I've ever just been like, this is not going to work out. And, she was basically like, I don't want to pay these late fees. I can't sign up in advance. I don't know my work schedule. I'm a single mom. And it's like, you're not special. Everybody here has something else going on. And they're making the time to show up on class or to say, you know what, my fitness is going to cost me $30 extra a month because I need the versatility to say like, shit, I got to cancel out of this one so I can go to the next one. And the second that we start valuing somebody's excuse or situation more than somebody else's, I just think that's where the standard starts to fall apart. And so in the instances that I've done it, it's always a reminder why I shouldn't do it.
I even do it like,
and then it gives you more oomph to not do it.
I did it like 3 months ago, and as I was doing it, I was like, this is going to come back to bite me. I was like, in the instance, I was like, I'm going to regret this. And I did it, and then last week I was like, yep, here it is. That moment has come full circle. Just much faster than usual. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
But you almost need those.
I do. And I went and told Cassidy, I was like, hey, I want you to know now, because I want you to have my pain, and it wasn't his fault. Like he's the GM now, so he's kind of like, oh, maybe we'll break it. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, never. I'm like, don't do it anymore. I don't care what the story is. The answer is no.
Punch cards. We got rid of punch cards.
Right. And same thing. Where I was just like, and I was like, and here's why. And I was like, today, I'm in here now, and we're dealing with this nonsense that we shouldn't have to deal with because they think they're special. And I don't have time for that. And I was like, it's not fair to all of the other kick-ass members here who are doing exactly what they should be doing and being part of the tribe. And this person doesn't be part of the tribe, and that's fine by me.
It's fine.
There's plenty of tribes out there. Yeah. I'm fine. Just you can't be part of this one. So, I was just like... And
saying it coming to a place where you're like happy to just say, hey, we understand that this might not be a good fit, and, Yeah,
you have the conversation professionally, and you put all of that anger back inside, and you bitch
take
about
it on the 2K route.
Yeah, you take it on 2K. You bitch about it in behind closed doors. You're like, oh,
podcast.
Yeah. I was like, got me again, So.
But here's also, going back to what Marcus said about, Nicole definitely said that. A lot of people are like, you can't say that, and you kind of alluded to it. If your members know that you're coming from a place of care, you can say whatever you want to them. And I have no doubt every one of your members, there's always the sensitive ones. Yeah. But I have no doubt every one of your members, when Nicole's like, put your big girl pants on, they're like, she's right, and it's because she wants me to be a better person. So if you, coming from a place of care fixes that. Like, so people listening, don't just start yelling at your members. Because they can also, it's like we talk about the bullshit meter. We can talk about the bullshit meter. Like,
context.
You don't want me here. You want my $150. Versus Sally, was her name? Susan? Sarah? No, Sarah.
Samsonite.
Like, I know this is important to you, and you're making excuses about it, and in 2 years from now, you're going to be really upset.
I'm going to call you on your bullshit.
Yeah.
And from a place of care, because I don't want you to let your standards slip. And that's my role here. Just like, no, that's not okay.
And it goes back to you, like, you have 2 kids. You've been on seminar staff. You know, the content executive, whatever your title is. Like, but you know what? When you have a busy day, you're probably here at the 5:30.
Yes.
So when your members are like, oh shit, what's Nicole doing here? I had a busy day, and this was my only time to work out.
Yep.
Well, I recently had this realization. Like, obviously, like, Jess is gone, and I was like, oh well, I'm not training that much, and I'm like, that's garbage.
Right. I could train in 11 months from now, right before she comes back.
Right. Yeah.
And get back in shape.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'll be able to cover that ground. But no. But I was just like, no, that's not. It's bad leadership, because
you go to the gym.
I'm like, well, if I have that shitty excuse, well, then that's just going to trickle all the way down.
Totally.
So I was like, nope. Fixed it, rearranged the whole schedule I was talking to you about. I was like, this doesn't work for anywhere. I was like, I need to get my shit together, blocking it out. And I'm like in there 5 days a week now. And I'm like, and here's the deal. It wasn't that hard.
No.
And I'm a
not that
single
You're already
parent.
at the gym.
Yeah.
Turns out all you have to do is change your shoes.
Yeah.
And you can work out.
Yeah.
All right. I've got one last question. And I want to just hear your answer. I don't even want to give you a response. Because based on how you've been
So
talking.
usually we'll do that.
No, I'm
When I
telling
ask you
you
a question,
now.
then I answer
I'm
for
not
you.
going to interrupt you. Maybe. But what the listeners are going to hear a no bullshit answer from you. And this is what I'm going to say.
We'll see.
We live in Boulder. 5-10 mile radius. There's got to be 15 boxes. No one can speak on this better than you, because here's the kicker. The fucking owner of CrossFit owns a box close by. All the excuses box owners make. My competition, the box down the road. Yell at them right now.
Oh my God.
Okay, don't yell at them. Talk to them sternly. The standard is
Sternly.
the standard.
The standard
What would
is
you
the
say to
standard.
that? Like, oh, Nicole, my box is struggling because there's 3 other boxes. And what
got
should
it.
we do?
Yeah, and I've met with a couple of different affiliate owners. Ooh. Man, where to start? I think, let's see.
Trying to get me to
my
interrupt
thoughts.
you. I'm not going to
I
interrupt
know,
you.
I know.
You
But
just
you
did.
said, and it's a hard question.
But I just know you're going to have a no-nonsense answer, which is one of
Yeah.
the things I really always appreciate about you. You're a straight shooter,
Right.
but you come from a place of care.
I would say make your programming CrossFit and coach CrossFit, and make your programming actual CrossFit. None of these bullshit like watered down movements to replace a squat.
No leg extensions,
Yeah,
leg curls.
like curls. And man, I don't know. That wasn't a good start. I mean, I can
I
kind
think
of
that's a
speak
great
from
start.
where.
Stop
Stick to-
interrupting.
Yeah, well, I can speak from what I've seen. I drop into gyms all the time. Like, we went to pick up a puppy in Mississippi, dropped into 2 gyms there. You know, I went to Steamboat, dropped into a gym there. Like, I love going to gyms. And you guys know this. The intention is always there. People want to help. They're there for the right reasons. But if what you're trying to deliver is out of the scope of what you can do, so if it's a 6-part workout, if it's, you know, you're talking more than, you know, there's not a single bit of coaching, you're just there to hang out, like that's the difference. You really don't have to do that much more, but again, it's the whole fluff piece. And if you had to pick one thing, it would be, I mean this in a good way, dumb it down, make it simple. And the people that are supposed to be there will be there. I mean, think about it. Like, you know, 5:30 this morning, I had 16 people for a 2K row. You know? And I guarantee you if I had 5x1 press, I would have had 16 people.
But the difference is we watched the 4 o'clock class. Jenny did like 18 different drills
Right.
before the 2K row. I'd be like, Jenny, let me just get on this rower and row.
Right.
But that's what makes a great class.
But that makes a great class. And that's why people then are saying, like, oh, well, when I go to a 2K row, like, yeah, I learned stuff. I did things for an hour. I practiced things. I got something out of it. And yes, I'm, you know, like you even said it, like, you're going to row a 2K here way faster than you going down in the basement in your garage.
Well, 'cause I'm not gonna do it in my basement.
Well, right, too. Yes, faster by doing it is always faster than not doing it. So if I had to yell at it, you know, not yell, but if I had to think back to all the things that I see, it's this idea that like people need something special, and they're not special. You know, the CrossFit works, and that's what's so silly about a lot of this stuff is that and I know Greg says it and it gets used and the word gets taken a million different ways, but it's very eloquent program that worked just as it is, and you don't have to add anything, you just have to do it well. And I think so many people are worried that that's not going to be possible. And then I think the other thing is that you have to genuinely care. And if you don't own your affiliate because you don't really care, or you just, you were 25 and you bought your box because you thought it was cool and you're going to work out there for a long time, and now it's like just not in it. Like, you kind of owe it to the people to figure out a better situation for them. And I don't mean that like sell your gym. It's just like, how do you figure out how to dig in? Because it's a lot of little things. Like, like just the other day I had an interaction with an athlete that it was fine, but I felt it just wasn't right. So I just shot him an email and emailed me right back. And it's those little things. That's because we have a relationship with these people, not for a year. I mean, some of these people I've actually known just as long as my husband, which is crazy. And that's a long relationship. And if you don't actually take an investment in that over time, then this doesn't work. So I think that's the other thing is care, but there's a way to care. So that's what I would say.
I think that was great. I think you said exactly what we say with a little harsher than we come off usually. Yeah. Like you're aggressive, and we're not.
I'm pretty soft, and
Well, no, I think obviously times are weird, and I think that's the stuff that people need to hear. And this is kind of like, as things evolve, it doesn't mean we need to leave the stuff that made CrossFit great behind.
No.
Like, keep it.
No.
Like, let's keep all of that stuff. And I think, just for me, this conversation has been refreshing. I think there's a lot of people who are in the CrossFit space who are like, man, times are changing. And I'm like, they don't have to. We can do things just as well, if not better, by just revisiting how this all started.
Okay, so stick with me. I was telling this to somebody the other day because they were trying to understand, like, well, what's changing? Like, okay, so when you play baseball, you can take any sport.
Use basketball because for D1.
I did play a little baseball too. So
did you?
That's fine.
You're multi?
Whatever. Swimming, I don't care.
I didn't swim.
So baseball has rules. Mm-hmm. They have a standard. Teams can evolve over time, but they don't change the rules of the game.
Right. Still 3 strikes.
They're still molding and growing and developing and changing over time. And they're going to have a new coach and new ownership and new feeders and whatever it is, but the standard of the umbrella under which they're working doesn't change. And I feel like the difference with what we're faced against with a lot in CrossFit right now is that we're changing the rules of the game. And so yes, that can be daunting because it's schizophrenic, mm-hmm. right? That would be a terrible place for me to work as an affiliate owner if every day I was like, crap, should we do CrossFit or should we do something else? I'm not sure. And so I like, when we talk about how you survive over time, and yes, times are weird, there's been a million weird times in Major League Baseball. There's been a million weird times, but the standard and the rules don't change. People just play it better, and they weather the storm. And I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it
makes great sense. Yeah.
No, it's cool. Well, I'm motivated.
I'm motivated too. Let's go work out.
No, you got me. Like, I think like sometimes
up,
I love sitting down with like Fern, obviously, but and Marcus, but people like you that have just been around forever, and like we have it's like probably very military-esque, where it's like we understand where we've been together, we understand, what this thing is differently than the people that found it years after us.
Well, I think it's just, this conversation, the conversation that we had with Jomo. Mm-hmm. Like those kind of things is like everybody will start to second guess their thing at some point. I don't care who you are. And you just need to be reminded. I'm like, nope, there's nothing wrong. It's just a storm. Mm-hmm. That's fine. Keep doing your thing. Mm-hmm. It'll pass. You'll be fine.
And you'll learn something from it. And your success is being able to apply that to the standard or the rules or whatever you're going for, not change the target.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming on my podcast.
Yeah, this has been great.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.